I've really noticed is when you've got those dogs and you are like at a point in life where it is kind of just go in and feed and clean and you got to get about your day and whatever.
Well, yeah.
There's a big difference than the guys that can go in and spend some time and put hands on a dog every day. And
Yes.
like there's
I
some real
agree with
benefits to that. And I would really encourage people, like I find a lot of personal enjoyment when it comes summertime. I mean, yeah, we're not running per se, but you know, I spend as much time with my dogs in the summer than I do probably any other time, even if it's just working in the kennel. Like I'll take a
Right.
project down and work in there, or we're fixing fences within eyesight, or there's a couple loose running around the dog yard while we're working or the kids are
Yeah.
playing. And I think it just makes a world of difference.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of guys that I've seen out here, they'll keep their pups, like you say, in the house for till they're 6 months old, you know? And I mean, I don't know. We just never did that. You know, it was always, I don't know, my dad was one of them ones. He's a tool. You use him as a tool. But you still clean the dog pens. You win every day. And like I say, here, we go to bow camp. We're there for a week. Dogs are with us. Tied out.
Yeah.
We put them up. You know what I mean? It's just, but they're with us at all times because really ain't got nobody taking care of them or don't want to give, have people do that because, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
They're ours. But
it's hard to find a sitter that's going to give them the attention or pay attention.
Right. And I did that a few times down there. We did it. We'd go to, like, we went to Alaska for 2 weeks and stuff. It seemed like every time you do something like that, it seemed like something always happens. I mean, that
happens anyway. It never fails. I'll get a call from my wife. My dogs are perfect angels until I leave town.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's like last year. I had to go. Oh, like I say, I started getting these bark collars. We was working some Brandons. One day I was working as Brandon. My phone kept coming off, so I answered the phone. And my wife said, "You got to do something with this damn dog. I'm about to kill him out there." So I said, "Okay." That's when I ordered a bark collar, started putting on him. And like I said, we run them mainly during the week. I try to pull them off on the weekends, but I don't like running them at night just in case because you got enough critters will come up around here, So.
Oh, yeah. I've had possums climb in and eat the dog food in the kennel and get killed.
Yeah.
It's like you got to let them do their job.
Yeah. One time down there, gosh, years ago, one night the wife woke me up. She said, "You just shut them damn dogs up." Summertime down south, windows are open in the house. So I go out there and they're treed. I had a couple black and tans in and one blue dog. Went up there and had a possum oak limb was hanging over the dog pen and they were just hammering on him. You know what I mean? And just like, hell, just shoot him out. You hate to shoot him out to the dogs because he falls in the pen and you're giving him the game you don't want to run because they're trashing now,
Right.
But it made it quiet, so that was the main thing.
What kind of, just curious, what kind of bark collars did you use? Because
I don't know. I bought them from y'all.
Which one? Did you go with the Dogters or the bark limiters?
I don't know.
I could look up your account.
You can look it up because Jeremiah just bought some too. I think we have one for every dog now, just because neighbors, they don't seem to keep their dog home. It makes ours bark, and then they come, "Hey, your dog's barked all day." Yeah.
Your fence didn't work.
Yeah, right. So, but no, I'd be honest, he might know. He'll know for sure because I know he just ordered some.
Like they're both a good bark collar, and I get guys that they swear by the bark limiter deluxes, and they are good.
Yeah,
but
they're not. I'll tell you this, pretty bad in a black and gold box, I think.
Yeah, and then there's the YS600s that I know buddies used them. I've tried them and they seem to work well. Like less, I want to say they felt like they had less accidental stimulation. Like a dog brushing up against something or eating. So if you listen to my recommendation, that's probably the one I told you to buy.
Yeah.
And if not, maybe I should have.
These work good, whichever ones they are.
Right on.
Gosh, I don't remember the name of them. Like I said.
But you definitely, that's the thing is, everybody listening to this probably already knows. Just make sure to check them. That's something you don't want to not check. That is a daily hands-on check that bark collar.
For sure. And that's like when we go out and feed, you're always, I don't know, you pet the dog, rubbing him down, whatever, and just, I don't know. And like you said, if you got a dog, if you got the collars on, making sure that, they ain't too dang tight, So
Yeah.
keeping a little bit. No, they work pretty good,
Yeah.
We're working on one dog. He's pretty good about barking in the box when you're traveling, It's just works good on him. Put it on him, and just then you get to where you're going. You can take it off and just then all you gotta do is buzz him when you put your tracking collar on him, and then he'll shut right up,
Right.
So it's working pretty good on him, getting him shut down now, because he would drive you nuts.
That is the worst. Just the yep
that's it.
out of the box.
That's it. And he's got this big old deep ball to him too. It's just I don't know, but
he's ready for bear season, man. You guys are gonna fire up pretty soon, right?
Yeah, we've already been trying to go out. Just the snow. In the woods, it ain't too bad. Just the roads are so drifted to get around. So we've been kicking dogs out, walking up some draws and stuff. But we probably, some guys around here have cut. They did opening day. Got a friend of ours treat selling a couple cubs, and we finally cut some tracks last weekend down low. They came up off the river, and we just hit them later in the afternoon. And I think they were just too old for what we got to get started. So but hopefully this weekend. We're getting warmed up. They're calling for we're out here at 82, I think, by Sunday. So
we just got hit with a heat wave too. Yeah, it's like all of a sudden. Yeah, like today it's 80 something.
Oh yeah,
and it was snowing at my house a week ago.
Oh hell, what day was it? Woke up the other morning, it was snowing. I guess that was Friday. Yeah, I went to work Friday. Woke up, it was. Wasn't quite a good heavy dusting, but it was off and on. What melt? It melted, hit the ground.
Just enough to bring a bunch of water is what we found. Like every day, we would get 2 inches, and then it'd melt, and then 2 inches and melt, and it's like all of a sudden my backfield's a swamp.
Yeah, it's Sunday or Monday morning. It rained all day. We had to go recover that truck and rain all day.
Yeah, that looked like a pretty gnarly situation.
Yeah, it was Jeremiah being in a minute. He could tell you the whole thing. He was the one driving it, So I was the one hooked to him and pulled him, and he just, anyways, he kind of slid downhill front end into a tree and downhill. So we had to go in the next day with winches and stuff. And
we'll get to the full story here in a bit. Yeah. He's out feeding dogs, isn't he?
Yeah, he's supposed to be out there feeding them dogs, and he'll be up, But yeah, no. So I like the podcast with you and the boys. That was sound like
thanks, man.
Sound like a good time. Boys.
Yeah, we had a pretty good time.
Yeah, it's always good.
They think they're a big shot. When they get to do the podcast, they think they're like something special.
Hey, you're doing it right, dude. You got them in the woods and all, and they ain't got no problem going to the tree. The one gets me is so whatever happened with guys listening to you there and. So that y'all run a fox, right? And he kind of went over a bank and turned hard, and dogs kept going.
Yeah,
because y'all were talking about that. So
yeah, it all turned out really good. Nobody got hurt. I mean, thank God that it wasn't like it was something you'd see in a movie. But in the Pacific Northwest, these roads are cut into the mountains, so you got a big cut bank. Is what I should have probably called it.
Oh, okay.
But it was a rock outcropping. And that sucker turned. The last dog was the only dog that did not go over.
Really?
And it figured
to be slow sometime.
Oh man, I saw that coming. Well, the problem is all those dogs, like me and my buddy, we hunt together a lot. I mean, if my dogs are in the woods, they're with his dogs a large percentage of the time.
Right.
So when they run, I mean, they're wadded up. We're not talking. We're stretched out 50 yards.
Right.
We're talking like everybody is right there in the moment, and it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just boom, 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 boom.
Really?
And I was still in reverse, trying to make sure dogs weren't coming off behind me. And the kids were like, "Dad, it's like raining dogs out here." And it's like, yeah, that's a scary thing. And I was really nervous because that can go real bad.
Oh yeah.
Luckily it didn't. And I think. Like we were talking about just spending time with those dogs and mentally keeping them in shape keeping a dog physically in shape makes a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like injury wise, I would say if those dogs were out of shape, or at least I use shape lightly because I feel like very rarely do you ever have a dog really in shape. But like if they were just couch potato soft, man, that would have been devastating to any house dog.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
no doubt. Yeah, we try to road during the week and on a day on the weekend. You know, keep in shape, you know, and usually today's the day we usually go. He was going to go, but I guess he's going to hang out. We're gonna hit it hard this weekend, so we just got another day of him sitting back, and then we'll hit it Friday afternoon through Sunday. You know.
So what do you do, like when you just go road them for exercise? And I know this probably sounds dumb, but I hear it a lot. Do you guys like go to areas there is no game, or like?
Man, it's tough around Montana to go somewhere where there ain't no game.
Right. I mean, like, is it something where like those dogs get in a mode and they know you're just pushing them and you're pushing them so hard that they know they're going for exercise? Because that's my thing is if I'm going to drive to where I can road my dogs, it's an hour. And if I'm going an hour, like it's an area that I know and I'm comfortable with, but there's game in it. So I can't, you know, like they're going to start it.
It's we can do it right here by the house. We got a bunch of area. We ain't got far to go to kick them in. And so in May, they'll start opening up some gates again. And then in that, after, let's say later on, we got some pretty steep stuff. We'll work them uphill, you know.
Sure.
I don't know. We ain't had too much problem. They do bump some stuff. And if we can see, you know, we've had, ain't no doubt, they trash. I mean, they'll trash on a deer. If you've had them put up for weeks, like sometimes it happens, and you go out, it don't matter what, on our dogs. They smell that elk or whatever, he's pretty stinky. They're going to run him, you know. Yeah. And then and they're pretty good. You can just tone them, and all the time they know. I think they automatically know they ain't supposed to run that, you know.
Yeah.
So
they're just testing you. They're checking you to make sure. Is it still? Yeah. We're still not supposed to do that.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, we're good.
We really try to watch it on young dogs. Is the biggest thing. They don't want them to start out. You know what I mean? I'm sure that's everybody's that way. You know.
That's my worry. Is roding young dogs.
Yeah.
You know, like just to get in shape, especially independently, because I don't want to crush that dog's independence and wanting to work a track. But you know darn good and well it's probably not good. Yeah.
And it's, like you say, a lot of times, like whenever we were going here prior, we'll try to ride the road, make sure there wasn't no wolves and stuff there too, you know. And then we might road them back out. We'll road up and road out, you know, because here it doesn't matter. It doesn't seem if you go early morning, late afternoon, or middle of the day. You know, it seems like deer and stuff's moving all the time. And we run a few coyotes. I know we've hit a few coyotes just how they ran. Or you get up there when they turned off in the snow and you'll see, you know, what they're on another dog, you know. Sure. And just usually tone them off. Like I say, tone them and usually it shuts down pretty quick. They know, you know.
Yeah.
But,
and how far do you road them?
Like in a session? We've done 8 to 10 miles, you know, but don't push them hard. You know, just don't want to run no pads off them or nothing by running them and push them too hard, you know. On down the roads, and then we've done it before. We'll go look for a lion in the mornings, and the dogs don't drag them where there's a lot of them in the box. And then we'll take them out, and you know, we already run the area. We know what's around the area, and we'll just road them with the sleds. You know, we just started doing that toward the end of when we could still really get up and do stuff. We would run them. Jeremiah's coming in now, but we'd run them, I don't know, 8, 10 miles easy on the sled. They would run groomed trails. We'd just cut them through or whatever, you know. So they were good with that. Every time we take them, we try to get them out, stretch them. You know, it's just to keep them going, you know.
Well,
so we're fortunate we get to be pretty close here. I mean, we hunt all over from 4 to 5 hours away to 10 minutes down the road, you know what I mean? So
you learn a lot, I think, roding dogs. Like I kind of backed myself in a corner, and I have dogs that don't even rig anymore. You know, because like my situation, I said I hunt a few spots, and I just go in and I know where the game is, and we don't harvest it, so I can just keep going back.
Right.
But it's
yeah. No, I got you there. I don't know. It's we working on rig dogs. We got a couple of them that rig pretty decent. On bears for sure. And the more as the season goes through, the better they get naturally.
Yeah.
We use the same dog for cats and bears. Jeremiah's got a little red bone. She's tight mouth though on a cat, so it's hard to put anything in with her.
Yeah.
And I got a red dog too, red tick. He'll roll in behind her. He'll do the mouth. But I think she likes cats. Like I said before, I think she likes cats a lot more than she likes bears. On her end.
Yeah.
But these other ones, I don't know. They're ready to roll.
It's still crazy to me, like how much. I don't know. I guess when you hunt different ways, like everybody hunts different, right? But like you've got people, I mean, primarily that rig, or they road, or they free cast.
Right.
I mean, I would say those are the three most common ways of hunting. But you learn so much about that dog with each three independently. Like watching a dog on the rig is amazing. And then, you watch them in the road and you learn a lot about their locomotion and watching them and making sure, they're sound as far as physically sound.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and like I say, down south, we would try to cut a track, even if it was bear, hogs, deer, whatever. And if you didn't have a track, what do they call walking the dogs? You're going with your dogs, and because after a while you'll know where different game lay up, and you pretty much take your dogs up in them areas, and and they'll
right
especially after a while your older dogs know where they're jumping stuff, and you kick them out, they're going to there. They know it, They know the same woods you hunt over and over,
Yeah.
So no, like I don't know how many people I've ran into before over the years, and you see any dogs? You heard any dogs? Yeah, I heard a chop mouth dog over here. Your dog chop? I don't know. They don't know their dog's voices,
That's true.
And it's pretty true. And up here, I can see that because you don't hear a lot of race here. You're using that GPS. We're down there, it's flat country, and you can hear a long ways. So you can hear your dogs work.
Yeah.
You can get all the way around them in a lot better. You're not miles out usually. Yeah. You can surround a block a lot better. Might be a big block of timber, but you can get someone within hearing distance of it at least.
Oh, that's nice. You get to hear a lot more of the race.
Oh, you do. A lot of them are like a square mile. A lot of blocks are square mile, if you want to say. Some are smaller when they start making clear cuts and stuff. Then people push roads in, which y'all probably know too. It's happened everywhere in the country where they're closing roads left and right. So it's making blocks bigger, which it ain't a bad thing because it gives game, I think, time to, grow up or whatever. Get a little more knowledge under them,
Sure.
So
you get a better quality, better class of animal too. I mean, if you're a lot of places like down where we grew up and all, they went to a horn restriction now to where he's got to have 3 on one side.
Right.
Or a 10-inch main beam for deer, or as far as whitetails and all. So it's given that the genes some time to actually grow and see the quality of deer that place can put out, along with other places there.
And that's like bears down there. We had our season. It had to be the harvesting. You had to be 100 pounds. I don't know. Naturally, no sow with cubs and stuff. Just kind of gave them up a little more. Give them time to grow a little more. And so,
a year makes a huge difference on a bear.
I didn't hear anymore. I'm kind of like you said. I just soon run them. Once you shoot him, the hunt's over. The whole hunt is finding the track, getting him started, and getting him up the tree, and then that's the hunt.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's wild to me, like what the difference a year makes on a bear. I was really fortunate that my in-laws had a great property that backed like hundreds of thousands of acres of national forest land. So the bears would come down every fall because it's the last water basically on the mountain range. It all comes down to one or two sides of this ridge. And, those bears would be in there. You'd get a ton of them. Let's say 8 to 10 on trail cam every year.
Oh, really?
And yeah, there's a bunch because they're just rolling out of that national forest because the water's drying up. There's no water unless they go down the backside, and they're hitting like Illinois River and down into like the Rogue Trail and all that. And it's just all big open slopes. So there's no feed, there's no water. They just all kind of funnel down in there.
Right.
And they hit their orchard every year. So, I mean.
Oh, really?
But, you know, you look at them one year, and we had a sow I probably watched her for 6 years. And every year until last year, she twinned out. You know, so it was cool to see, like, you get to know them a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
But I ended up harvesting one out there years ago that he was a monster mountain bear. He was, I'm going to say, between 4 and 5. 4, very conservative. I mean, he was boned out 165 pounds of meat. So he was a big
good.
And I never got the age back from the state. So I'm trying to figure out if we can go back and get the records, because I'd like to know.
And Jeremiah just found out on his 2 years ago.
Yeah, it took them at least it's 2 years. This was the second. This May is the second year, and I just found out here about the time we put in for tags. They had finally posted it for us. So I'm hoping my cat will be that. Because I'd like to know how big that cat was, or how old that cat was, I should say.
Yeah, it's cool to know.
My bear was 12.
Found out he was 12. You know, he was pretty good. No, he was 6'6".
He's over 6 technically.
Yeah,
almost 7.
That was square, wasn't weight. We were to kill him. You got to pack him. He ain't bringing him out. You got to pack him out.
Oh, sure.
Most of the stuff we do, and the wife.
That's why we never weighed mine. There was no way that was coming out in one piece. Like that got boned out.
Yeah, the wife killed one here a year before he killed that big one. We killed several of the 2 biggest ones, and it was during the pandemic, so they just called it in.
Yeah.
So we didn't get to get an age on him. He was a pretty good one too. It wasn't the biggest one he killed. But
hers was a short, stocky bear. Like he squared out at 5'8".
Yeah, something like that.
But he was almost that big around. It seemed like
he got a hell of a pumpkin on him.
Yeah.
So.
When you sat there and looked at him, from on the shoulders on. You're like, oh my gosh, she just shot. She's booked. And then once he turns and rolls away, you're like, hold on, wait a minute, don't shoot. He looks like a dink. And then you see him stretched out on the hillside, like, oh no, he's a big bear. He's just short and compact.
Right.
And yeah.
It's funny how the frame, I mean, I know I've talked about it before, but like mountain bears and valley bears, like they get a different frame on them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how old that bear was. He had to have been fairly old because his teeth were pretty whacked.
Oh, yeah.
But then we killed another one 2 years ago. And that thing came back at 2.5 years old, and he was like 2 1/4.
And he just left. Mine ain't been gone from Mama because she told him about 2 years,
Well, and that's what I felt kind of like, I don't know. I'm not, this is going to sound bad. To me, any 200-pound bear is a shooter. Like, I'm not
I've
going to
heard you
pass
say
up a
before,
200-pound bear.
Yeah.
But when you realize, like, holy cow, we hit that size and quality of a bear in that short a period. And I remember distinctly my first California bear. I use it as a reminder to not shoot small bears. I mean, it was a great experience, but, it was 125 pounds.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not like I'm ashamed of it or anything, but it is a reminder because that thing was a 9-year-old, sow.
Really? 9 years old with that?
Yeah, it was like kind of the last week of season. I didn't even have dogs at the time. I was hunting with some friends. Or I did. I guess that was my first year with dogs because I held out all season to get my dogs under a tree that first year. And, but yeah, to come back at 9 years old and
was it a sow?
That size, I was shocked, and then you start looking at the other bears in the area and what we had caught and harvested and even let go. It's like, it makes you wonder. It makes you question.
Yeah.
All of it.
Plus y'all said it down there in in-laws where you got a big orchard and stuff. We don't get a ton. And that's what here, some of this area up here and getting the fall, like I was saying earlier, we were going to elk camp and bow hunting, and the bears come in and just worked on our pear trees and stuff,
Yeah.
So, but anyways, And that's what happens here a lot because cherry trees, everything else up in this country, and just and maybe it helps a lot for their winter, because we got a lot of huckleberries, everything else. So probably what they're eating down south, it was a lot of acorns, palmetto berries, palmetto root, and them bears there are you can kill 400 pounders, ain't no problem there, but they're lanky, real lanky. They don't put on the fat that you have here. So I guess they'd be like a spring bear all the time down there.
Yeah.
Shorter hair,
no fat.
Shorter, shinier type coats.
But when you kill a big bear down there, he's got age on him. But you're going to kill, like I remember growing up, us being around some of the bears, like they had them nicknamed. There was the Volkswagen was the one that I remember. Because when he stepped out on the road, like he literally would sit down on the road and wait until you pulled up to him.
Yeah.
He was big enough. He didn't care. Didn't have a plan. Didn't have any worries. But when like he could put his hands together and have them in the front paw like this right here, and the paw goes around both of his fists, and his fists are bigger than mine. And it was just the massive size, like almost grizzly bear size it's hard to believe, but in that sand, he was that big. Like it would be like looking at a big black bear in the snow. Like he's a big, massive track. But he didn't care. He was every bit of 400 plus. There was no season. So he'd sit in the road until somebody threw him food.
We called him Andre, for Andre the Giant. But in that area, in the Ocala National Forest at the time, there was no bear hunting allowed. And they finally did it a few years back, and they kind of did it the wrong way, I think. But everybody has their own opinions. They closed it down. They filled a quota in, a day and a half, and I don't remember what it was.
320 something bears, and they guaranteed it. I want it like it's in the 300s was their quota that they wanted. They guaranteed it open for 2 full days. They closed it within 24 hours.
A day and a half almost. But anyways.
Was that in Florida?
Yeah. And that was our...
Yeah, it was like huge. I remember seeing it was like a day and a half and that thing was done.
Right. It was crazy, and they didn't... I still think they should have did like they used to do the gator stuff because there was guys shooting dinkers. You can ride down there any afternoon back where we live at, and you just see them bears walking the power lines, walking any road. You got dogs running, and a bear just walks out. He'll be 50 yards from the truck and just look at you. You know what I mean? You'll see more bears riding around up there than you will any deer on the road. It's crazy. And they get used to. When they got hit, they wanted you to call them in on the interstate, on the highway. Now you call them in. Yeah, it was okay. They don't even come look at it anymore. There's so many. And a lot was due to, from what I'm told, because I wasn't there when it opened up, a lot was due to our bottlers didn't keep enough records. So we got somebody in to get it closed down. What is your stuff on it? And they just haven't reopened it since.
Right.
The beekeepers kept us going for so long up in North Florida. Kept our season open because they said if you ain't gonna take care of them, then we'll just poison them. Basically, we'll take care of the problem.
Right.
So we kept a season going, and then it got shut down because we had anywhere from Lake City, Osceola National Forest, up in Apalachicola, all up in North Florida.
Sure.
So, we run a bunch of bears up there. That's the only place we had to bear hunt.
Well, I'm glad you guys got it back, like got something going in Montana because this is your second year.
Yes, there's no doubt. It's a good thing.
And we're hoping with upcoming stuff and legislature and all, that we will be able to expand on it a little bit better. From what we've heard, there was the only negatives you've already interviewed. The only negative, realistically, that happened all last year. From what we've heard feedback wise and what we can tell from all the hound hunters we've talked to and FWP, that was the only real negative incident that happened last year. And everybody was worried about the grizzly bears. Everybody was more worried about us running grizzly bears than anything. And we're hoping to expand at least where we can run.
Yeah.
To where there's so many areas that is heavily, heavily black bear. And it's just... Sorry.
Someone didn't turn their phone off.
I turned mine off.
I know. I messed up.
It's all right. My kids are probably rolling up the front steps here in about 2 seconds. Mom got them out of here for a little bit.
Nice. Good deal. But no, yeah, it's a good thing. It really is. And boy, this year was just seeing a lot more people out. You're seeing more dog boxes in trucks, compared to last year. I think guys that are cat hunters a lot of them are starting to jump over. You got more time to run your dogs,
Well, that a heavy influx of out-of-staters moved in that were already, a bunch of houndsmen moved in, especially once we got that season, made this area more appealing to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, you made my list. I'm like, we can put that on the list of places to go someday.
Yeah, buddy, come on. Anytime, like I say, even during cat season, you want to come up, we'll make a
get rid of the snow. You get rid of that snow.
Yeah, boy, howdy! This year it came in October, and the mountains is still there. That's for sure. It finally left the yard here a few weeks ago.
We have places.
I know. I want to hear this train wreck. We're going to end on a bad note because that looked like a pretty gnarly operation to get out.
But it wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, we were. I'll let him take it. He's the one who was the train wreck. I came up trying to.
You were the salvation.
It was a controlled engagement of the pucker factor. How's that?
That's a good
Whenever
definition.
it went off, so it all started out, we were trying to make it over the one mountain that we actually do most of our bear hunting at and around. We can make it 3/4 of the way up the mountain. And I made it 3/4 of the way up the mountain in 2-wheel drive. My daughter was with me. She's 8 years old, box full of dogs. We're going good. We come up, we hit a little icy spot, little patch of snow, truck slides, put it in 4-wheel drive, go across this little area, go around the corner, and it's now snow as far as you can see. So
deep snow.
We can't back up because I don't want to back across the slick spot.
Right.
So
because you got mountains, like this isn't flatland again.
Yes, we're 4,500 feet and climbing.
Yeah.
And so now we went from no snow to went around the corner, and we're 100 yards around the corner, getting into another corner before we get to the main bend of the switchback to start climbing again. It's second to last switchback on the way up. So we go into the corner, and the front end just buries in the snow. We come to find out we're 2.5 to 3 feet with the snow right now. Yeah, and I frame out on the front end. So I get out.
It's just soft now.
Soft late afternoon.
This is 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon now. Go ahead, chain up the front end. Like, all right, this is normal procedure. Happened all cat season. Here we go. Go to back out, and we just start churning butter, and it doesn't want to move. It's just a digging and just a churning. So my daughter goes, "Dad, are we stuck yet?" And I was like, "Nope, we're temporarily immobile. We're not stuck. I can still dig. We're doing good." So I get out and start digging. I don't want to call him. He's down the hill a little ways. Dad is.
Nobody wants to call Dad.
I start digging and start digging.
When he was a kid, did this.
I did this a lot when I was a kid, and a lot of different situations. Last resort is Dad. We'll call people to drive past Dad to get us before we call Dad. So I'm digging away. I let her get out of the truck. She's playing in the snow. So we're digging, or I'm digging. She's got sticks. Finally get it. I start to back up a little bit, and it just goes to digging even more. Now I'm throwing dirt finally on one side. I'm completely framed. So call Dad. He pulls up and hooks up to me and starts pulling me backwards. And as we're pulling backwards, the front end starts to head downhill. And we get it stopped on the edge, right at the cusp where passenger tires are on. They're already starting to lean off the edge of the mountain. And we're debating back and forth, a little bit of heated argument there at us, stop moving. I'm not moving. Why are you moving? I'm sitting still.
Like, thing, you know what I mean?
We had our moment. So as this gets going again, we're sitting there. We've cooled down. We're talking. We've looked at everything. And we're like, all right, let's take the dog. Now, dogs are still in the box at this point.
I want to get mine out. Anyways,
my daughter, she's been standing out of the truck since it started not going in the direction I wanted. We stopped, got her out. We're now to the point where it's about to leave the road. And everything's out of the truck, guns, backpack. Everything's out. I go ahead, put the seatbelt on, dogs are out, and we start pulling, and everything's going fine. We're actually going finally in the direction we want to. We're off the ice. Both sets of tires and chains are in dry ground, but it's the edge of the road. So we're backing, and we didn't realize that Dad's truck had turned.
I kicked over a little bit so I got up against the mountain. And he started coming good, and I was watching him. Yeah, we're coming. All of a sudden, the front end of his truck just starts headed downhill. Well, then I couldn't go nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just...
Yeah, so he had to sit there, and...
It kind of leaned into a tree on its side.
I hit the brakes as I feel the front tire go off the edge, and it keeps sliding, but that the front passenger side dipped. And luckily just went top of the hood and fender into the tree, and it sat still. And
you were thankful for the tree.
Very. That was one of the only reasons that we kept this whole thing going. We went farther with the pull instead of going and getting winches and everybody else. Well, there's trees. I shouldn't roll.
We knew we weren't going too far. But if we'd have got past them trees, Bubba, she was a ways down there. You know?
Yeah. There was a logging road eventually.
Yeah, we could have stopped at that logging road as long as we didn't bounce past it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
There.
So it
go
leans,
right over the top of it.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, yes. So it leans and hits the tree. We're completely, the back passenger or back driver's side tire is about 1.5 feet off the ground, and the front passenger tire is about 4 feet off the ground, but leaned against the tree. That's holding me completely. We're in it's going bye-bye. At this point, I'm still in the vehicle. So everybody, my daughter runs up to the edge. Dad's out of the vehicle now, runs up, like, everything good? Like, yeah, we're fine. I turn, and I'm putting my feet about where the door handle is on your Toyota, you know, sitting there, my feet just below the window, but on top of the door handle. And I'm standing straight up in my vehicle holding my driver's door open. Couldn't really do that. So then I let it close and climbed out the window. But when you stepped off of the road, you could step where your leaf spring meets the frame. That was your foothold when you stepped off to step on the truck if you had to get anything left out or any of that.
It was lucky. You didn't go far.
So then we had 2 inches to pull us out.
The next day, we went up there next morning. And that was an adventure, too, to get back in because the snow was deep, to get one in the front and one in the back. And we kind of drug him up the side of the hill. But all in all, it turned out pretty good. You know?
Yeah, man, it looked like there was some good redneck engineering going on there.
It was something. You know, we've done some stuff, but that one there was definitely off the side of the hill.
We called in a buddy of mine that I've met years ago, used to run a record company and is getting one started again. And
so he helped out. He knew some procedures.
There you go.
He didn't have a record, but he came up and was like, okay, this is what has to happen. And I was like, cool. The big truck that you want right here ain't going to make it.
Yeah.
And it made it very close. And then we had to hook a winch on the Stinger, a portable winch,
and then drag it
and then drag that truck to where we wanted it, and then pull the Stinger winch out, plug that into the back of the Toyota, hooked it to a tree across the road, up above the road, and then the winch on the Power Wagon could hook down to the front of the Toyota, and we just inched its way, give a little, take a little, both sides, and worked it all the way back up onto the road, and then got the Toyota back up on the road, back down and hooked the Power Wagon's winch to the front of the Toyota, buried the Toyota in the snow, just let her dig, and then used it as a winch point to drag him out of the snow to me, and then we could back out and drive down the mountain.
Yeah, it was an adventure.
We call these around here, and all our friends call these Conroy adventures. Yeah. There's tons of them from. We can go on a well-planned hunting trip. We did it last year right across the river here. We went and we're like, we'll take the dogs for a run.
I told him about this story about
and then
next morning.
5:10 a.m. we come rolling in to put dogs back into the pen. And we had left at 6:30.
Just an adventure, right?
Yeah.
I got a buddy of mine says just another chapter. That's all it is, right?
Yeah, right.
Just another chapter. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you got that chapter out of the way and you guys can
Dude,
get some
you
snow
ain't
to melt
wrong.
and go catch some bears.
Hopefully, this weekend we're going to try to hit it pretty hard. And
We got some buddies coming into town. I've got some class I got to do on Saturday, and he's got to work. But
first thing in the morning. But
Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning, anybody that's out there better watch out. We're going to be on the roads.
Well, I wish you guys good luck, man. I appreciate you getting on with us again.
yeah, buddy.
You going to make the trial this year?
The Lolo trial?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
You know, I don't know if Buddy's going to make it or I am. We've had a lot of family stuff come up, but I know that is one that is like always at the top of our list that we are really trying to get to because we
Yeah.
just keep
Well,
hearing really good
He
things.
did a good
about it.
time.
Definitely let us know if either one of y'all are coming on, and we'll make sure to meet up. Or if you guys need a place to crash or something, let us know.
Oh, man. Greatly
For sure,
appreciate
got
it.
room. Yeah.
We'll have to do this again. We'll get you through bear season and do a wrap up.
Yeah, so we can get some stories for you. I mean, I got a bunch of stories from down south, but there's some people. I have to get with you sometime. Tell you about one. When the wife got caught by one. We had one treed. So
Oh, man.
yeah,
No,
it was,
cliffhanger.
We'll
I
break,
did,
we'll
I'm
break,
telling
we'll break
you.
out some pictures. There's picture proof of this one.
I got picture proof of it, but it was an interesting story. For sure.
We'll start with that one next time.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.